Hey guys, you want to bring your felt flower making to the next level? Let's try some pan pastels and dyeing your flowers. What are pan pastels? Let me ask Google. It is professional artist quality soft pastel colors packed in a unique pan format, cake-like. Their special qualities meant that artists can blend and apply pastels dry color like paint for the first time. Thanks, Google. Anyways, the thing I love about pastels is, if you notice, they come in a gigantic variety of colors. This is just probably a fraction of what they offer that I even have as a collection. So, and I am constantly buying more, just expanding my collection on colors. And I definitely showed you all of the boring, yucky colors, but they come in so many cool colors. I really like using them for felt because the felt fibers really absorb the color really well, and it doesn't really come off. So I can brush this and like the transfer level is really low. I will say the metallic shiny ones do tend to transfer the metallic-y pigments a little bit more than the flat colors. So like this is a flat yellow and I can rub it right now and it's not moving on my felt and it's not really transferring to my fingers. But really, when you think about it, felt flowers are not really created to be handled and touched too much anyways. So you want to kind of just leave them alone, because the more you touch them, the more you're going to mess with them and the more you're going to like really destroy their beauty. Let's get into how I use pan pastels for my flowers. First off, there are a lot of different colors and there's a lot of different ways and techniques that you can apply them to your felt. Some of the tools that you need, these little plastic brushes, and a lot of these pan pastel kits, like that one doesn't have it in there, let's find one, come with new little foam tops. So you literally can slide them off and slide on a new one to rub in your color depending on what you're doing. I have little tips for every single, my more popular colors that I use all the time. So you have these little foam pads. You've got bigger foam pads. These are not like they're very similar to makeup sponges, but they're significantly thicker and a little bit stronger. And then you've got like larger foam pads. And I've used all different kinds. Another great way to apply your pan pastels is with paint brushes. So I'll use paint brushes, makeup brushes, anything that I kind of have that I can really just get in some pigments and just push it really good and well into the felt fibers. Other things you're probably gonna need, you need a surface that you can do your pastels on. You don't wanna put it on your table, your mats, or anything like that. You wanna just protect your surface. I normally use paper towels or a piece of cardstock, anything to just protect your surface. Let's look at the sunflower. So normally the sunflower, you have these yellow petals, but in order to make it more dynamic and give it more depth, I've added some orange to the base just to give it a little bit more character, and it just gives it more dimension and less boring and flat. So for this one, I just grab my sponge, I find my orange shade, and I'm just literally doing a rub, and then I'm gathering some pigments onto my sponge, and I'm just gently pulling it on. If you want to press heavily, you're going to get a much more solid, and then if you go lighter, you can kind of fade it up. So once you have your petal, you can do like a pinch fold, and then go watch my sunflower video to figure out how to assemble the rest of it. But that just gives it such more fun dynamics and less boring of a petal. So another flower that I do is my little wild daisies. On this one, I do little centers and I have yellow kind of poking out through the centers of the flower. And again, it just gives it a little bit more dynamic, and that's really a lot of daisies in nature. They have a little yellow kind of poking through. So we can grab our yellow pastel, grab a brush like this, and I again grab some pan pastel here and just start in the middle and just gently pull it up, and then this gives it that like gradient soft look of coming up. Like so. Throw a little felt ball in there, fold it up, and then you have a cute little daisy for felt flowers. So another thing I do too is, so on my Tulip Peony, I have all of this color kind of coming up from the base of the petal, and then it comes up softly to the top here. Okay, so for this one, I have a petal kind of picked out here, And one thing I like to do is I kind of have this like rounded, tight brush here. And this is probably one of the colors I use the most. In fact, I've got spares over here too. But you can get into the corner here, put some on your brush, and then I like to kind of bring it up with little lines. And this is just kind of making some good little veins on my flower. So I'm making the veins first, and then I'll come through again with a sponge and kind of give it some more on the bottom. But I'm just kind of like flicking it up and just making some really, really good color and shading on my petals. So I've got the top kind of done. I'll come in with another sponge and kind of just make the bottom a little bit more full, like so. Super easy, and then do all your petals and then you get a beautiful peony. Another great thing about PanPastels is they store really, really easy. So when you buy them individually, they come in little packs, or you can buy them in sets where you get, you know, a bunch of shades of pink, or the landscape set where it's all the browns and greens and whatnot. And then the great thing about it is they literally just twist off. Each PanPastel is a lid for another PanPastel, so you can easily stack them to save space. I like to organize mine so that way you have, you know, I've got my yellows and oranges and greens in this one. I've got one that is literally for blues and one for browns. That way I know which stack that I'm pulling out of, because it is a little bit hard to tell off the side where to find a color. But you can kind of guess. You're like, okay, well that's the yellow that I use and this is my navy that I like. So it is a little bit harder to find them when they stack, but they do take up significantly less room, like this. So here is a few other flower examples that I've done with PanPastel, with the dahlia, just adding some extra color in the petals to make them super fun. And then as well on my bearded iris, who collected a piece of felt too, on the edges, just to give it so much more beauty and dynamic and really make them more fancy and more lifelike and just more complete. I hope that I left you with lots of options and ideas on how to make your flowers go to the next level, from plain Jane to fancy smancy. I have links below to some PanPastel colors in the description, and be sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any new flower tips or tricks in the future. We're coming out with videos weekly, and then comment below with your favorite flower. Thanks guys, I will catch you next time.